order coming in hot. How they're going to sell it? In the name of unity, peace, and safety.
Conspiracy theorists were right again. Have you guys seen what's going on in Oxford right now in the UK? They just set up their little 15-minute city, and they are now charging people for leaving the city. You get 100 free days. They call it a free day. You get a free pass to leave the 15-minute city. And if you exceed your 100 free days, you have to pay the US dollar equivalent of $93 per day. And if you live outside of the 15-minute city and you want to travel into the 15-minute city, you get 25 free passes, free move. Oh, the government's giving you free movement capability. You get 25 free passes. And if you exceed those 25 days, it's $93 a day. And how are they tracking all this? Oh, there's not a man at the gate. They're not writing up tickets or having police officers set up. Oh no, they are monitoring you with digital AI surveillance and cameras. And then they're automatically finding you. This is why we have to be against the flock cameras in the United States. They're not just speed trap cameras. This is why we have to be against the Palantir whole of government database. This is why we have to stand up and raise awareness and bring attention to these matters instead of arguing with each other and NPCs on the internet over left versus right issues or my side, your side. They are keeping us artificially divided because they're setting up this infrastructure in the United States right now. Divide and conquer. We are in the division part of the divide and conquer agenda. Conquer is next. You think it's bad now? Wait till you have to pay $100 a day to leave your 15-minute city.
Mass non-compliance is the only way out of this.
The one thing that gives me hope that we may actually pull off this mass compliance deal is that with the release of this file dump, these 3 million files that they released recently that exposed all of the elites and almost all of our politicians for being a part of something that's just unbelievably atrocious. The one good that's come from that is the entire world has kind of woken up to the fact that these people are not someone to be looked up to. These are not people that anyone would want in charge of what they are and are not allowed to do. They've basically given the entire population just cause for defying any orders or edicts that they give us, regardless of any potential consequences that you may receive for pushing back against the system. Do we all not feel completely justified in just flat out ignoring anything they say? These people have proven themselves to be the most disgusting, despicable type of human imaginable. Now, I don't think that they really took that into consideration whenever they released this stuff. I do think they released it for a reason. I think that they are under the impression that this is going to overwhelm society and make everyone black-pilled, that it's going to make everyone feel hopeless, and so we're all just going to give up. But what I don't think they considered is they've basically cut their feet out from under themselves. A lot of people are only willing to stand up when they're 100% certain that what they're fighting against is pure evil. And they have shown us that they are just that.
Did you guys see the commercials during the Super Bowl? The Ring commercial? And I don't think actually many of you did because you don't watch the Super Bowl because you know it's bread and circuses anyway. But check out this new commercial and tell me this isn't freaking creepy.
This is Milo. Pets are family. But every year, 10 million go missing. And the way we look for them hasn't changed in years. Until now. One post of a dog's photo in the Ring app starts outdoor cameras looking for a match. Search Party from Ring uses AI to help families find lost dogs. Since launch, more than a dog a day has been reunited with their family. Be a hero in your neighborhood with Search Party. Available to everyone. For free, right now. Join the neighborhood at ring.com.
Okay, hold on a second though. Did you know that Ring, Amazon's Ring, of course it's Amazon. The Ring, Gollum, Lord of the Rings, the all-seeing eye. Look, Amazon's Ring is the largest civilian surveillance network the US has ever seen. In December 2019 alone, 400,000 devices were sold. And now, that was in 2024, there was 10 million Americans that had this installed on their doorbell. And you may be thinking, but if it can catch lost dogs, that's great. But you know how our cell phone, we're using the front end of it right now, but you know there's a back end, right? Millions and millions of people putting up surveillance devices. Yes, they've caught bad guys with them, I get it. But pretty soon, every square inch of our countries will be under surveillance. And I just find it interesting that that's also part of the plan but people are voluntarily doing this anyway. It was kind of like when Pokemon Go came out and everyone was filming everything. You know that was like a job to do, right? They wanted a bunch of footage. They want to take pictures of everything. They put Pokemon in spots they want people to take videos of. I'm not even joking. The company that made Pokemon Go is connected to the CIA. Not kidding. I know it sounds typical conspiracy, but do your own homework. I'm serious. According to this Reddit user, and I'm sure there's other articles, that's just what I came off the top of my head. Off the top of Google's search results, which you know that no one scrolls past the first page of Google results. If you can control the first page, by the way, you basically control the flow of information for millions and millions of people.
Something tells me this is not about the dogs. Amazon CEO says the Pet Finder AI tool on Ring doorbells helped bring home 99 dogs in 90 days. Now hold on, wait a minute. Didn't they say that over 10 million dogs go missing a year, and this is gonna do what? Find one dog maybe every single day, so 365 dogs a year, which is, I'm not gonna discount the dogs that are found. I'm sure those owners are very, very happy, but 365 out of 10 million, I feel like there is something more to this story than they're telling us. It has been reported that Ring security cameras have given every employee, quote, full access to all customer videos for years, according to the FTC, and at least one employee viewed thousands of video recordings belonging to at least 81 unique female users. Once again, my spidey senses are telling me that Andy Jassy does not care about your dog. In terms of the Ring camera service itself, the more disturbing partnership might be this, which is that Amazon Ring security cameras are, quote, moving deeper into law enforcement with Flock safety and Axon deals. That's how it always starts. It's always about your safety. Speaking of which, what the hell is Flock safety? They say they are shaping the future of safety together. To solve and eliminate crime, you need evidence. Protect your community, businesses, or schools 24/7 with coverage that never sleeps. Safety is something we create together. But how? Well, that's how. We're gonna map out of you. We're gonna track your every movement, regardless of whether or not you're committing a crime, and we're gonna call it a public safety technology ecosystem. So now, I really don't think this is about your safety. And to be honest, it's never been. It's always been about control and how to manufacture ways for you to give up your rights and liberties on your own, because guess what? It is much easier that way. So hence, don't you want to help your neighbors find your dog?
Just the fact that they have used this to find roughly, 90 dogs in 99 days, that should terrify everyone. How much easier, and just speaking in general terms for, say, a human being, but more specifically for AI, how much easier would it be for the AI to determine distinguishing characteristics of a human face than it would for it to pick out the different characteristics of a dog? I'm fully convinced that if someone in my neighborhood asked me to dog sit for them for a full week, and they happen to have, say, 5 chocolate labs, and all of these labs were male, and all of these labs were roughly the same age, I don't think that with day-to-day contact with these dogs over the span of a week, I would be able to determine which was which. They all look roughly the same. You'll have the occasional dog that has a unique characteristic in its face, or maybe its behavior is going to give it away. But in general, if you have a bunch of dogs that are all roughly the same age and all the same color and the same breed, it's going to be hard to pick out which one is which. But if I were starting a new job and hanging out with 5 new people every day for the first week, I would very quickly and easily be able to determine who was who. And I'm not even that great at remembering people's names. People just look way different from person to person than what dogs do. And this AI system can still distinguish between what dog is what. This should absolutely terrify the mess out of everyone. And because Ring is partnering with the Flock system, it's all going to have facial recognition software built right in. They're literally admitting that here. Security cameras are no longer about recording what took place so that you can view the footage later to get evidence for a crime that already happened. And their end goal is to create a system that can pick out who you are using these Flock camera systems, and then not just based on what you've done or what you're actually potentially guilty of, but other things such as where you're going, if you're somewhere that you don't typically travel to, or if you were hanging out with someone that they don't particularly care for. At that point, not only are you being tracked, but they're watching you like a hawk. And every step you take, they've got you from multiple angles. It would absolutely blow people's minds to know just how many people have installed these things inside their homes. I've personally known people who had a Ring camera in their bedroom where they go to sleep with their wife at night. So many people are just wildly ignorant when it comes to this technology. Too many people just assume that there are laws protecting them from doing anything that you wouldn't want them doing with this camera. But even if we had laws that supposedly protected us from Ring employees or the company itself allowing AI to view our in-home footage from our Ring cameras, that doesn't mean that those laws are being followed. They've made it so obvious at this point they only follow the laws they want to follow, even if it's a matter of public safety. Look at how many criminals they let out on the street because it aligns with their ideology to give them a 30th chance. But seeing stuff like this and then finding out how many millions of cameras people are still purchasing from Ring every year, so we're not just helping to install their surveillance system, we're actually paying for it out of our own pockets. This will make you feel hopeless. Yes, we do still have a chance that people can come together and push back against this nonsense, but there are so many people around them that are just completely ignoring what's taking place around them. I'm fully convinced if a revolution comes, there's going to be a large swath of the population that doesn't even see it coming. They're not even going to understand what's taking place. And when someone does try to explain it to them, they're just going to be standing there looking dumbfounded going, I didn't know any of this was happening. I really hope that we can get over the division and unify and stand up against this tyranny before it gets too late. But there are so many people in this country, in this world, who are just asleep behind the wheel.
Everybody is talking about the Epstein files, but nobody is talking about the neuroscientific effect on the population and why this is being done. For months, nothing was coming out about these files until 3 million pages of horrific atrocities were released to us all at once. This is the perfect recipe for mass vicarious trauma. Our amygdalas, the fear center in our brains, are hyper-activating, causing outrage, disgust, and hypervigilance. And at the same time, the prefrontal cortex, the thinking rational part of your brain, is down-regulated. And this is happening across millions of people at the exact same time. And so, as a result, social media is flooded with content about this. I guarantee you, it's all you're seeing on your For You page. And this leads to desensitization and mass compassion fatigue. Compassion fatigue is empathetic burnout. It is well studied in the medical field and in first responders. And it is when your amygdala physically cannot fire anymore. And so the outrage, the disgust, it's replaced by a numb helplessness. And so these files have been systematically released in such a way as to mimic trauma neuroscience, leaving the entire population feeling helpless and numb. So listen, I have known about this information for years before this was released. I know how these people think. I know what they are trying to do. They want your outrage. They want you to feel helpless. They want you to feel numb. They are trying to rob you of your human empathy. And so the way to beat them is to set your heart ablaze. Kindle the fire within, not to burn down the world, but to bring light into the darkness. Control your outrage. Control your attention and focus it on what you can actually do in your life to bring light into this world. This is going to reactivate your prefrontal cortex and recruit your reticular activating system to harness the full power of your brain to actually find solutions to make the world a better place rather than just being depressed about how dark and terrible it is. And so yeah, I'm angry because they can't keep getting away with this, but the way to stop evil is with love. And so I'm going to love even harder. I'm going to work even harder every single day to make the world a better place where light can shine, where people don't have to be afraid, where terrible things like this don't happen. And I hope that each and every single one of you is there to help.
I think to a degree, this is the right way to look at this. And I think that his theory about the potential reason for them releasing this could be the reason that they're releasing this. And yes, we should absolutely all be spreading as much love as possible. But maybe spreading that love, reaching out to people who are different than us and trying to find common ground is how we unite against these evil, evil people. Just imagine if we had a country of over 300 million people that were all on the same page. They would be absolutely helpless against us. None of this surveillance stuff would matter anymore. We could shut it down. We could shut them down. We need to just be spreading awareness about this, but it needs to be awareness of solutions and not just awareness of the problems. And at this point, I think our best, our safest solution is just simply mass non-compliance. Get rid of the Ring doorbell cameras. Don't comply with getting a real ID. Stop using facial recognition for every app on your phone. There are a lot of things that we can all do if we all did it that would just bring the entire system they're planning to wield over us to a screeching halt. But getting over all these dividing lines is the only way it's going to work. But I think what a lot of people don't realize is a lot of these dividing lines are completely imaginary. If we could simply just unite all of the people in this country who only want to be happy, healthy, and be left alone, that would be enough to change everything. But we've got to stop listening to the media telling us that because this guy's a different color than you, y'all can't get along. Or that because this guy's a different color than you, he hates your guts. This is one of the biggest cons that the government has ever pulled on the American people. Just look at all the women that can't go to a local park and go for a walk without going into a complete panic if a man starts walking down the trail in the other direction. They've convinced us that we have to be terrified of one another because everyone's capable of such horrible things. And now we know the ones who are really capable of doing terribly horrible things, those are the people who are trying to divide us. Those are the people who are making the laws. But this is possible. We need to be spreading love, and we need to be spreading solutions. In fact, if you have an idea for something that we can all unify and do, leave a comment down below, and I'll try to put a list together and present it in the next video with everyone's idea. The odds are pretty high that someone watching this video right now has a pretty good idea of something we can all easily unite behind. Maybe you just don't have a following online where you can get that information out. Share that idea down in the comments section and let's see if we can get more eyes on it.
Blocking Oracle is not going to fix your FYP. Getting mad and protesting is not going to fix the government. You know the reason why you're not seeing what's going on in Italy right now? Because your government doesn't want you to know that Italy is sitting back with their wine and their coffee cups. They bought everything they needed for a whole month and nobody left their house. They didn't go to work. They didn't make purchases. They didn't put any money into the economy. And Italy is literally going, what can we do to get you back? What can we do to get you back? What can we do to get you back? And the Italian people are saying, I'm happy just being here. I didn't realize that I didn't need all this shit. Cancel everything. Cancel everything. We're not paying you to do nothing for us. That's how we get back. Not protesting, because they'll just hire people on both sides to give them a reason to shut it down. You have to stop going to work. You have to stop buying. You have to stop paying them.
Okay, if you haven't heard about what's going on in Italy because you only watch US media or are living under a rock, which is basically the same thing at this point, let me break it down for you. The entire country is on strike today. Tens of thousands of people, hundreds of cities all over the country, trains, ports, roads closed. Why? Because Israel intercepted that flotilla that was on its way to Gaza carrying all the humanitarian aid and the activists. Oh, by the way, that same flotilla was supposed to be escorted by an Italian warship the entire way, but it withdrew about 150 miles off the coast of Gaza. How is the Prime Minister responding to all of this? Well, she's calling it irresponsible and an excuse for a long weekend. The Deputy Prime Minister is threatening legal action against all the protesters. Meanwhile, the rest of the country knows that this is a good thing to do. Literally, there's videos of people stuck in their cars, honking their horns and cheering because they're not stupid, okay? Where's the US media in all of this? Where's the coverage? Crickets. I haven't seen from the US media. If you want to find any information, you have to go online, do your own research, talking Reuters, Al Jazeera, European news outlets, okay? Why do you think the US doesn't want to show us this? Well, maybe because they're scared that we might wake up.
Standstill on Monday as a general strike spread across the country in solidarity with Gaza. From midnight, rail lines, metro services, ports, schools, and public services were brought to a halt. Demonstrations erupted in major cities including Milan, Rome, Genoa, Livorno, and Bologna. Protesters carried flags, banners, and chanted slogans while blocking ports and university lecture halls. In Rome, train cancellations piled up, while in Milan, the city's M4 metro line was forced to close. The strike was organized by grassroots unions, demanding that Italy cut relations with Israel. The USB union declared that breaking ties is the only real way for Italy to react to what they described as...
In an effort to keep this YouTube channel, I'm going to keep my opinions on the reasoning for what they're doing to myself. But I wanted to show everyone that if the people unite, great things can happen. We've just got to find a way to get everyone on the same page. My only concern with if the country suddenly decided to unite and try this method, my main concern is that this is kind of what they're hoping for. The US dollar is so weak at this point that if we were to unite as a country and just stay home for a month like they're doing there, I have a feeling they would just use that situation as their reasoning for ushering in central bank digital currency. They would just simply tell us the US dollar didn't have that much power to begin with, and you all have stopped the economy for 30 days, and we couldn't afford to take that hit. So because of that, we now have to switch to a new monetary system. No cash, all digital, all controlled. So yes, we all need to unite, but what we do when we unite, we need to be very smart about. Because I have a feeling that if we pulled something like this, we would be playing right into their hands. But y'all let me know down in the comments what y'all think about this, because I could be completely wrong, but this is the direction that I see them wanting to go in, and I could absolutely see them using something like this as the reasoning behind making that switch.
So Fortnite actually responded and got community noted. There's this rumor that JE was spotted in Israel, and then his Fortnite account was seen active multiple times last year, also out of Israel. It's an account of the same name as one of his emails in the official files, as well as JE's official YouTube account, also in the files. And everyone thinks JE is still alive playing Fortnite out of Israel. A pretty wild claim, I gotta say, but then Fortnite actually responded, saying that it was all a ruse and it was just another player that changed his name to the same one that JE had in the files as a troll or whatever. But then their response got community noted, saying that their explanation doesn't make any sense. That if you look at any other player who has changed their name, you can see their old name in their player history, just like you can see with this account right here, not related to the actual JE one. But if you look at the official JE account history, Littlest Jeff 1, which I'm realizing is actually Little Saint Jeff 1, like his island, you can see that his name has always been the same, meaning Fortnite straight up lied, like they're covering something up. So either JE is still alive and ripping Fortnite for whatever reason, or someone hacked his account out of Israel. Let's pause right there before this video gets taken down. Oh, and then the community note got deleted. I guess the overlords didn't like that one.
I thought this was pretty interesting, but not in the least bit surprising. If it's not obvious to everyone yet that all of these elites are in it together and that they're all going to the same parties and they're all partaking in the same atrocities, if that's not obvious to someone yet, they're just simply not paying attention. And these are the richest, most well-connected people in the world. So they have contacts everywhere. A lot of the heads of some of these companies are involved in this stuff themselves. And all these CEOs hang out together. They're all friends. Even if they're technically competitors on paper, they're almost always owned by some bigger corporation like BlackRock. When you reach a certain level, you only have the illusion of competitors. Everything is just completely monopolized. So it would only make sense that whoever is in control of the marketing and the public statements that are being put out by Fortnite, it would only make sense that they're going to run cover for this. And when that lie gets exposed as being an obvious lie, it would only make sense that whoever's in control of community notes over at X is going to run cover on their end, because they're all connected. There are just too many people in on it. The only reason that we're even aware of some of this stuff is because they think we're all stupid, and they think that they're all a lot smarter than they actually are. And because of that, they keep making massive mistakes. They keep exposing themselves.
So Discord is going the direction of forcing all of its users to verify their identity to access content on their platform, either by scanning your face and letting AI verify your age, or uploading your government ID, which just in October, they were already kicking this process off in the UK and Australia, who are two governments going way down this path of no anonymous internet use whatsoever. They lost 70,000 people's government IDs as part of that via the third-party service that they use or previously used to verify ages. The rest of this article goes into like how securely or insecurely this whole process that Discord designed is. And I want to just pop in and say, that's not the point. I do agree that something bad probably will happen when companies are collecting way too much information, including copies of our government IDs. This isn't hypothetical. It just happened to 70,000 of your users in October. The point being, using an internet service should not require you to tie that online account to your real life identity. And for some people out there, that is actually a decision that they cannot make safely. If you live in a country without freedom of speech, or if for whatever it is about your identity, maybe that doesn't feel safe wherever you live for various reasons that should be obvious, tying your actual government ID to your online persona should just be a non-starter, shouldn't be something that you are forced to do. Never mind the fact that most of the companies that are being pushed in this direction's core competency is not protecting this level of sensitive information.
I think one of the biggest red flags, or one of the biggest issues that I'm seeing potentially becoming a problem, and I would say it's likely going to become a problem. You have all these countries that are requiring identification for essentially using the internet at all. And then you have all of these American-based companies like Facebook and X that want their services to be used in these other countries. And they make a ton of money off of this stuff. So if they refuse to comply in these other countries, they're going to lose tens of millions or maybe hundreds of millions of users. That's going to be a significant hit to their bottom line. So what's going to happen when they decide that they will comply and that they will require identification for use of their services in these other countries, and then suddenly those other countries say, we don't want any interaction with our population from anyone who's not verified. Meaning, if you want to interact with any Australian users on X or Facebook or Discord, what if they pass a law saying that the only way you can do that is if you, living outside of the country, are also identified? The United States won't even have to pass any laws to get people to start falling in line with this. The companies themselves, in an effort to not lose access to this large swath of the population, are going to start requiring that we all upload identification in order to interact with these other countries. And then we're going to be left with a decision to make. Do we comply and upload our government-issued ID so that we can still get actual real news from other countries, which a lot of is going to be extremely watered down because of their anti-free speech laws? Or do we decide to not comply at all and have zero access to even the watered down information that's coming out of these places? I know I've made the decision that when this stuff starts happening, I'm just going to have to walk away from the internet. You can't trust any of these companies to hold on to your sensitive information. This is the information age. The moment they have that information on you, they're gonna find a way to profit off of it. And they'll tell you that all they're doing is simply trying to comply with laws in another country. But we all know they're just itching to get that information. It's just too valuable. But the way things are looking to me, the internet was fun while it lasted. I have very little doubt that this is about to be a widespread issue.
This is a great example of why I keep saying digital IDs are bad, because Australia is now giving all of their citizens biometric data to the US without their consent, claiming it's to comply with the US's more strict visa waiver program. This actually started in 2022 under the Biden administration, where they said countries that are participating in the visa waiver program, who want to continue to participate in it, must agree to the Enhanced Border Security Partnership, which states these countries must share their biometric data and ID databases of their citizens. It was following a situation where a UK national who was taken off of a terrorist list entered Texas and took people hostage in a synagogue. And then in December of 2025, Trump doubled down on all of this, asking for more biometric data from other countries, as well as 5 years worth of social media history from everyone. But the big problem here is, at least in Australia, even if you never come to the US, whether it's for travel, for leisure, whatever, your data is still going to be shared with the US. I shouldn't have to tell you that sharing your most sensitive and identifiable information with the US, let alone the Department of Homeland Security, ICE, is a bad idea, because they are most likely going to use it to train their AI systems for facial recognition, behavioral profiling, and other surveillance softwares that will inevitably be bounced back onto the public and probably then exported to other countries for crowd control. Not to mention, the US has been experiencing a major data breach at least once a week for some time now. So I will continue to stand by the fact that digital IDs are not helpful to the general public and are just for mass censorship and surveillance.
And this is how they plan to create a system that has everyone in it globally. And they're trying to make it sound like there's a logical reason behind countries sharing their citizens' biometric information with another country. But we all know they plan to lock us down into little sections on a grid before long, and we're not going to be able to travel freely anyways. So really the only logical reason that they would have for this is if they're compiling all this information to put in one system, one massive global system that controls everyone, so that one guy or one small group of guys can wield control over that system and completely own the world. And I know I've said this before, but I do not think that it's going to work out the way they think it will. I fully believe that given enough time, even if we're able to stop it in this moment, this will eventually take place. They will eventually have everything connected and control all of it. But as much as I believe that, I also fully believe that they are not going to be the ones in control like they think they are. These AI systems that they're building out are going to be so much smarter than they are. What is it going to need them for? And honestly, with the way they keep shooting themselves in the foot every time they try to run cover for some more bad news that got released to the public, they don't really appear to be that smart to begin with. So the AI wouldn't really even have to be that good. And they're going to be right here in this open air digital prison with all the rest of us. But seeing how all of this stuff is becoming interconnected, and how it's obvious the direction this is headed in is there's going to be one person calling the shots or one small group calling the shots. The idea in the book of Revelation that there's going to become a point where they require you to take on the mark of the beast or you're not going to be able to participate in the economy anymore, that's really making a lot more sense now. All of the pieces are falling in line that are going to make something like that possible for the first time in all of human history. And not just make it possible, but make it effective. And I think that is the most terrifying detail of all of this. But I'm not really that worried about it. I know where I'm going when I leave this place, and that's certainly not something to be afraid of. But guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and leave the video right there. I hope you enjoyed these clips we watched together today. God willing, I'll be back tomorrow with another one. I hope you come back to join me. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to drop your theories and your comments down in the comments section below. But guys and gals, I hope everyone has a great, safe, fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all tomorrow.